The moment they stepped into the wedding hall, the air seemed to change, as if every whispered judgment and unspoken question had been waiting just for them. A single father with tired eyes and a calm, guarded posture walked beside a woman whose presence felt both gentle and defiant, and before the night was over, one simple question about her age would leave an entire room breathless. Before the story truly unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of love that doesn't fit society's expectations, take a moment to like this video. Comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. Michael Carter had not planned on attending the wedding at all. Life as a single dad in Ohio had taught him to avoid events that invited unnecessary attention. Between working long shifts at a small construction firm and raising his 8-year-old son, Noah, his world had narrowed into a simple routine built around responsibility and survival. He loved his son fiercely, but the years since his wife's passing had carved deep lines into his face and deeper ones into his heart. Weddings, with their laughter and promises, felt like reminders of everything he had lost and everything he believed he no longer deserved. Yet this wedding was different. It belonged to his younger sister, Rachel, and she had begged him to come. She insisted he not come alone, gently suggesting that he deserved companionship, even if just for one evening. That was how Michael found himself driving across state lines into Pennsylvania, with Hannah Brooks sitting quietly beside him, the late afternoon sun reflecting off the windshield like a hesitant blessing. Hannah was not someone Michael had expected to be part of his life. They had met months earlier at a community center fundraiser in Cleveland, both volunteering out of different kinds of necessity. Michael was there because Noah's school encouraged parents to help out, and Hannah was there because she believed in giving time when life had given her more than she once thought possible. Their connection had grown slowly, cautiously, built on shared silences rather than dramatic confessions. She knew about his grief, his son, and his fear of being judged. He knew about her guarded smile and the way she carried herself like someone who had learned to stand tall against quiet storms. The wedding venue was a renovated barn surrounded by rolling hills, white lights draped across wooden beams, and guests dressed in elegant colors that contrasted sharply with Michael's modest suit. From the moment they entered, he felt eyes on them. He had grown used to that look people gave single fathers, the mixture of pity and curiosity. But tonight, the looks lingered longer, sharper, sliding past him and settling on Hannah. Hannah looked radiant, not in a flashy way, but in a way that suggested grace earned through endurance. She wore a soft blue dress that moved gently as she walked, her hair pinned back simply, her smile calm and unforced. She held herself with quiet confidence, yet Michael sensed the tension beneath it. He knew she was aware of the stares, the mental calculations being made by strangers who felt entitled to judge. As the evening unfolded, whispers began to ripple through the room. Guests noticed how Michael introduced Hannah not as a girlfriend, but simply as someone important to him. They noticed how she leaned down to greet Noah at the kids' table, listening to his stories with genuine interest, how she laughed easily, how she seemed to fit into Michael's small, fragile world without trying to replace anyone. And still, the whispers continued. The unspoken question hovered in the air like a fragile glass ornament ready to shatter. People wondered why a single dad like Michael had brought someone like Hannah. They speculated about her intentions, her past, her place in his life. The assumptions grew heavier as the night wore on, until curiosity tipped into audacity. It happened during the reception, when the music softened and conversations grew louder. Someone, emboldened by wine and a sense of social entitlement, asked the question aloud. It was not framed kindly, nor was it meant to be. It was a question about Hannah's age, asked with a tone that suggested disbelief rather than interest. The room seemed to pause, as if even the string lights overhead were waiting. Hannah did not flinch. She did not look to Michael for rescue, nor did she retreat into silence. Instead, she stood there with a calm that felt almost sacred. She answered honestly, naming her age without embellishment, without apology. The number itself was not shocking, but the realization behind it was. She was older than many had assumed, older than Michael by several years, and certainly older than the quiet, youthful image people had projected onto her. The stunned silence that followed was not about the number. It was about the sudden collapse of assumptions. People had expected scandal, imbalance, or something improper, What they were faced with instead was a truth that did not fit their narrative. Hannah's age carried with it a history of loss, growth, and resilience that none of them had bothered to imagine. As murmurs spread, Michael felt something shift inside him. For the first time in years, he did not feel the urge to shield himself or retreat. He looked at Hannah and saw not just a companion for the evening, but a partner in courage. Her honesty had done what his silence never could. It had exposed the shallow judgments of others and replaced them with an uncomfortable mirror. Throughout the rest of the night, the atmosphere changed. Conversations grew more thoughtful, glances softened, and some guests approached Hannah with newfound respect. They asked about her work, her passions, and her journey, discovering a woman who had rebuilt her life after her own share of heartbreaks. Michael watched as people saw her for who she truly was, not who they had assumed her to be. More importantly, Noah watched too. He saw a woman who was unafraid to stand in her truth and a father who stood beside her without shame. In that moment, Michael realized that this was not just about romance or companionship. It was about the example he was setting for his son. It was about teaching him that love did not have to conform to expectations to be real. Later that evening, as the newlyweds danced under the lights and laughter filled the barn, Michael felt a quiet hope settle in his chest. He thought about the years he had spent believing his story was already written, that grief had closed the door on happiness. He thought about how fear of judgment had kept him from fully living, and he realized that change often arrived not with grand gestures, but with small acts of bravery, like bringing someone special to a wedding and letting the world see you as you are. As the night drew to a close, Hannah and Michael stepped outside into the cool air, the sounds of celebration fading behind them. The stars above felt closer, brighter, as if acknowledging the quiet victory of honesty over assumption. Michael understood then that life was not about avoiding pain or judgment, but about choosing connection anyway. If this story is touching your heart, if it's reminding you that love and courage often show up in unexpected ways, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep stories like this alive. Before we end, I'd love to ask you something special. Please comment below with your thoughts on this story, or share a moment from your own life when honesty changed everything for you. By the time they drove home that night, Noah asleep in the back seat and the road stretching endlessly ahead, Michael felt lighter than he had in years. He did not know exactly where his journey with Hannah would lead, but for the first time since his loss, he was no longer afraid to find out. And sometimes, that willingness to hope again is the most powerful answer of all.